The Joy Perspective, the podcast where I share life's challenges, things I've learned through years of personal development, and help others shift their perspective and find their joy. I'm Lauren Valdez, and together we'll dive into how changing the way we think can unlock possibilities, spark creativity, and transform the everyday. Let's dive in.
Welcome to today's episode of The Joy Perspective. Today we continue our series where I talk about a single specific word and how that word can bring joy to your life. And today's word is the word pace. I want to talk about the word pace because, we're often addicted to going fast or feeling like we have to rush through things. And a lot of that is being in survival mode. It's how we grew up, it's how we learn to cope with things. It gives us validation when we complete something or get to the finish line rather than slowing down and enjoying that journey during the race, during the marathon. And so I'm going to read a quote to you that really stood out to me this week and really helped give me this idea and inspiration for this episode. And it says, "When people train for a marathon, they run at a pace they are able to sustain throughout the entire race. While they could easily sprint at the beginning, they realize that there are hills and hurdles up ahead. Marathons require both perseverance and wisdom, knowing when to exert more energy and when to reserve one's strength." And I know for my life and the things that I've worked hard for, this is so true. There are times and there are moments where it is appropriate, necessary, and required for me to exert more energy, for me to sprint through that obstacle. And there are also times where it's been crucial for me to slow down, to be present, to realize that that leg of my race required me to slow down. I have a tendency to be driven by achievement and accomplishment. And when you are driven by those, you often lose sight of that journey in the middle. And you're rushing through things. And I have had to learn sometimes the hard way. I feel like when I get sick, it's God reminding me, like, hey, Lauren, you're not in control. I'm in control. You need to slow down. But also, there are moments in my life where I have been forced to take a step back. I had this big goal, this big vision, and all I was doing was sprinting toward it. And I was losing sight of the joy along the way. And there's so much joy along the way. Like, let me give you an example, okay? I joined network marketing when my daughter was 6 months old. I was going through postpartum. I was really feeling like all I was a mom to those two kids. And there's nothing wrong or bad about being a mom, but it was becoming my whole identity. I was losing who Lauren was. And so when I found this network marketing business, I just thought it was pretty and sparkly and it was going to be some self-care for myself. And it became so much more than that. And then I had this goal and vision of what it could be and the financial aspects it was bringing my business or my family, the confidence that it was bringing me back, and truthfully, most importantly to me, was the success and confidence other women were finding in it. That drove me so much. When others decided to join me and get pretty sparkly nails and also build that confidence, build that income for their family, build that belief in themselves, that's what was motivating me. And during that journey of working my butt off, being able to provide for my family in another way that I didn't ever dream was possible, I found so much joy. My pace was not about getting to the tippy top. My pace was about helping others. My pace was about doing self-development for my team. That was one of my absolute favorite things that I used to do was my Saturday morning power hours or motivational time, because I got to pour into my team. We got to pour into each other. And why am I telling you this story? Because there are a lot of times in our lives, whatever your situation is, whatever your goal is. Sometimes we're so focused on the goal. And would it have been so cool to hit the next rank for me? Sure. But my pace, my drive was in helping and serving others. And so I paced things out to where I got to do it that way. It wasn't about just recruiting people and throwing people on my team. I didn't want to be that person. And there are people that are like that. But most of us are not like that. So now in my new business, it's about helping people. It's not about racing to the tippy top. And I want to ask you, what aspect in your life do you feel like you're behind? In what aspect of your life do you feel like you're looking left or right? I want to read you one more quote from this that also stood out to me, because it reminded me that when we're looking at other people, we're not doing what we're doing for us. We're not running our race. Instead, we're looking at other people who have passed us or who are behind us. And again, that's not about your pace. That's not about your journey. So let me read you this quote. It says, "Scripture tells us, run the race He has set before us, giving all that we can to each moment, but trusting Him with our lack. His words remind us to stay in our lane, not looking to the right or to the left, which cause us to get off focus from the one we are running toward." Now, this is talking about running the race of our life, serving God, living out His purpose for our life. And it's so, so true. But it's also so true in every instance of our life. We don't need to look at those who are to our right. We don't need to look at those who are to our left. We need to look at the marathon that we're running, our life. What are we working toward? What plan has been set out for us? Because when you look to other people, you either feel like you have fallen short, you feel like there is failure, or that you're falling behind. And the reality is, that's not your race. That's not your trajectory. That's not your path. And sometimes when we look behind us and we see, well, at least I am not that, or at least I have whatever, and they don't. Again, you are no longer focused on your life, your path, your trajectory. So I want to challenge you to think of a few things. The stillness in your pace, or the slowing in your pace, is not stagnation. It's not failure. It's your race. It's you conserving that energy so that you can give more when you get to that next hill. But also look at your pace. Have you slowed yourself down from where you're supposed to be going, or what pace you're supposed to be at? It's easy for us to make excuses. But the reality is, when we stay diligent and we stay focused and we stay on our pace, that's our life. That's where the joy is. That's where you start to realize you're doing all you can, and what other people say doesn't matter. Your pace doesn't need to make sense to anybody else but you. Whether other people think you're going too fast or too slow, that pace doesn't matter. It only has to make sense to you. I hope that this brings you joy to realize that this is your life. This is your marathon, not his or hers, not anyone's. So focus on you. Find the pace that you need in your marathon and find the joy in it.
Thank you for joining me today on The Joy Perspective. I hope this episode helped you shift your mindset and find a little bit more joy in your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss one. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Meet Lauren Valdez for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you. Until next time, keep shifting your perspective and finding your joy.